An eventful morning here on Good Morning Football Weekend. We're hearing this breaking news. We broke it on the air here. Cam Newton testing positive for COVID-19. He will not play against the Chiefs. That game was supposed to be tomorrow. It's now been postponed to Monday or Tuesday of this week. So a lot of things in flux here as testing continues and we await the results of those tests. As you can see here, Cam Newton, he was having himself a season. And I think a lot of people were looking forward to seeing him play against the Chiefs. But that doesn't matter if he is not healthy. But as you can see, completion percentage, 68% was a career high for him. 4 rushing touchdowns. He had this offense really moving. And I just want to bring in Mike Giardi now, who's on the phone. And Mike, I just want to get your perspective, just because you're around this team so much.
Yeah, I mean, Cam was off to a great start. Obviously, Colleen, you know what I find interesting is that we spoke to Cam via the web calls on Thursday, and he was asked if he had been out much, you know, if he'd gotten a chance to see Boston or Providence, any of the surrounding areas. And he said, no, nope, not at all. He's a Coach Dollar Bill, which is his nickname for Bill Belichick, and Coach Mickey D, which is his nickname for Josh McDaniels. They keep me pretty busy, and I'm in the facility quite a bit. So, you know, again, as we've come to find out with this virus and how quickly it can spread, and you know, I take Cam at his word that he was doing the right things and keeping himself in a personal bubble. You know, and we mentioned in the last hour now, because of the contact tracing that they have, you know, they did more tests this morning, but I think that's something that they're going to have to look at longer here and sort of filter out the process of who had extended contact with Cam. You know, was it the quarterback room? Was it some of the coaches? So it's definitely a fluid situation here, and I think they're doing the right thing by pushing this thing back until they, you know, have a firmer grasp on you know, who's testing positive and whether they feel like more positives might pop up.
Yeah, and I guess we should note, too, that the Patriots, keep in mind, they had a league-high 8 opt-outs because of COVID-19, and now we're seeing today that Cam did test positive, so he is, in fact, out. Giardi, thank you for your perspective on this, and let's get back out to Jeffrey Chadia. I think we have, yes, hey, Jeffrey, there you are. A lot happening there on the ground right behind you.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's a new chapter every minute here, Colleen, and we actually have my producers overshooting the Chiefs facility that was just closed down a few minutes ago in light of what's been happening here. And as Mike alluded to, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening here. And I go back to training camp, and I go back to Rick Burkholder, the Chiefs head trainer, talking about all the things that they were going to do and all the accountability that they were talking about having within this team. And the Chiefs took a lot of pride in it. Have taken a lot of pride in how they've handled things. Been very big on wearing masks, social distancing, the contact tracing. They've done everything they can right. And this just speaks to the fact that you can do everything right and still have COVID-19 impact your season. In fact, I think Patrick Mahomes, some other players were asked this week just about how they looked at what happened in Tennessee and how much they've learned from that. And they all stressed that they've just been doing as much as they can to keep each other safe, to make each other accountable. And that's been their marching orders throughout this entire season. I remember Clyde Edwards-Helaire, their rookie running back, saying he wasn't going to go out. He wasn't going to do stuff. His mom's a nurse back where he grew up, and he understands the importance of this. So, again, Jordan Ta'amu getting this doesn't mean Jordan Ta'amu was a bad person or was being reckless. It just means he's living in an era where we have a pandemic going around.
Jeff, I thought about this because I was looking. This game came up in 2 weeks. The Chiefs-Bills game on a Thursday night came up as I was trying to figure out what would happen if they juggled the Titans-Steelers game. And this one factored into the equation because the Bills worked in there somewhere. And now we're coming back to it because you got Patriots-Chiefs on Tuesday, followed by Raiders-Chiefs on Sunday, followed by Chiefs at Bills that Thursday. This is going to be an incredible test for this team. Thank you very much. There's your graphic. This is going to be an incredible test for this team with, you know, some really tough games now tightly packed, right?
Oh, no question, Mike. And you know, Steve Spagnuolo their defensive coordinator was talking about just how they've been able to deal with so much adversity already, just in the secondary with, players going down, Bashar Breeland being hurt. They just lost L'Jarius Sneed, a rookie cornerback. And he said that going back to those early days of training camp, that they spent a lot of time talking about this season was going to be the ultimate test for them in terms of adversity. It was about players learning how to be able to step forward, step up, next man up, all those cliches you hear, because they weren't just looking at it like we want to repeat as champions. They were looking at it like we have to deal with something that could affect any of us and totally throw us off our game. And so the games you're talking about coming up here, they've been very good at getting focused for the big game. You saw that last week when they played the Ravens. They had a chip on their shoulder because they were underdogs in that game, but they've taken a very deliberate approach this season in terms of every game is a big test for them. They know they're the hunted. They know they have to take everybody's best shot. But what's happening right now with COVID-19 and their player being down and this game being postponed, I think in their minds they've already gotten their heads around the idea of this is just part of what we're going to have to deal with this year. So, yeah, tough test coming up, but I think they're also pretty a tough-minded team as well.
Yeah, I think, Jeffrey, all of us are sort of just rolling with whatever comes our way. It's sort of the new way of life here in 2020 for the entire planet. Jeffrey, thank you for sticking around later than you had to today and keeping us up to date on what's happening there on the ground. We will continue to talk about this story here on Good Morning Football Weekend. As Garofolo pointed out, if the Chiefs play on Tuesday, that means that Kansas City will have to play 3 games in the span of 10 days. A lot of people dealing with schedule changes now and things that they weren't expecting, but that is the new reality. We will talk more about this as Cam Newton tests positive for COVID-19 next.